raised from ruins. There are seasons in your life where the pressure of uncertainty may feel not just difficult, it feels collapsed, not rearranged or delayed, but reduced to rubble. Dreams that once had structure can feel like scattered, dried stones or bones, as Ezekiel the prophet envisioned, that were dried up. Strength that once felt steady, now buried under silence. Yet it is often in those exact places where everything looks like ruins that God begins his most intentional building. To be raised from ruins is not simply to recover what was lost. It is to be built with revelation you didn't have before the breaking. In the Bible, Nehemiah, he saw ruins, but he didn't see an ending. He saw an assignment. Some people may see you as an ending, but God gave us spiritual discernment to understand assignment. God raised a man to interpret destruction as opportunity for divine reconstruction. What looked like disgrace, humiliation, shame, pain, betrayal became the blueprint for restoration. Restraint brought revelation. This is the pattern that we see often with God. God does not ignore ruins. God enters the ruins. Nehemiah 2:12, it says, they said, let us rise up and build. So they strengthened their hands for the good work. The moment you accept rubble will not leave you in a ruined mind state, something holy begins to happen. Strength returns, not as emotion, but a decision. You don't want to feel rebuilt. You respond as someone who already heard the promise of rebuilding. The Hebrew concept, restoration, carries the idea of shalom, to make whole, to repay, to restore beyond original measure. When God restores, it says he makes all things new. So his ways are not our ways and his thoughts are not our thoughts. God does not only reconstruct what was broken, he upgrades. He upgrades what was once limited. The ruins becomes the foundation, not the final story. Even in the life of Job, what was lost was not merely returned, it was doubled. Job received everything back that God permitted the enemy to test him with. He permitted. And the Spirit is here to teach us how to permit and allow things to be ordained for it to reach its course of maturity, so that the ruins becomes the foundation and not the final story. The ruins became the womb of increase. And that's the mystery of divine rebuilding. God is not sentimental about your past. He doesn't care about the structure that you came from or the identity crisis that many of us face in these day and times of this world. He is intentional about your future strength. And in Christ, this pattern reaches its highest expression. Would look like to ultimate ruin, the cross, the grave, the silence of death became the greatest reversal in history. Resurrection is God's declaration that no ruin is beyond his reach. God permits the ruins so that you may have access to spiritual authority over the enemy. What collapsed around you becomes the testimony that surrounds you. What broke you, it becomes what God builds others through you. Isaiah 61:4 declares, they will rebuild the ancient ruins and restore the places long devastated. Notice the language here. The places long devastated, not new ground, but ancient ruins. God is not afraid of old destruction. He specializes in revisiting what others gave up on. The question isn't, do ruins exist, but whether will you allow God to build in them. He specializes in revisiting what others gave up on, because ruins are not proof of abandonment. They are often proof that God takes old structure that was never meant to hold the weight for what is coming next. And when God raises you from ruins, you don't come out as who you once were. You don't come out as what you once held and carried that was burdened and buried deep down. He pulls up the treasures. You come out as evidence that resurrection still works, because he raises you up from the ruins that try to define you of the past. He does this to show that his restoration is still active. His resurrection power is still being revealed. And God will rebuild where others walked away. So stand in faith and steadfast, unwavering conviction, because you're not what finished you in the ruins. You're being formed in them. Y'all have a wonderful day.